Greetings, welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. And as always, we are looking for customers to come visit our bar. So if you're passionate about something going to be on a podcast, please let us know, because this bar is all about community. We're not doing this for money, we don't have Patreon, we don't sell advertising. Apparently. And so if you want to help us, please consider leaving a 5-star review wherever you find our show and joining our Discord server and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Yes, we got this out of the way at the very front of the show. I love this. My name is Joel. I'm the owner of the SciFi Pubcast, so to speak. Let's see who's in the bar today. Wow, we actually have a regular crew, Kerry Simpson and Derek Beebe, but we also have a special guest. Yes, friend of the show, we have Ernie Garcia on. How you doing, Ernie?
Hey guys, it's good to see you. It's been a minute, I think. Maybe several.
Yeah. God. So Ernie, man, it's been a while. I do other podcasts with you, which we haven't done since this whole COVID thing broke out, right? So I know we did a movie thing with Derek way back, right? But you do other podcasts. Right?
Yeah, so I've been doing the Mando Night Football with you, and which is awesome because we just had the second season trailer drop.
Oh, yeah.
And I am so psyched. It looks like they're just building upon a world that we just love, and I cannot wait to see what adventures come out of it. And then I do have my personal podcast called Talking Earnestly, which is like on super hiatus right now. I don't even know if I'm going to bring it back, but somehow I stumbled into this bar and I'm confused. So.
There are wormholes apparently. Just stay out of the kitchen because you don't want to go in there.
Yeah, this is like an Interstellar episode.
Oh God! Yay! And of course we have Carrie. How you doing, Carrie?
Hey, I'm doing good. Last week was weird, but this week is better, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've also had. It's also new that I've had tequila, so what's the top?
And I'm perfectly sober. What's wrong with me, Carrie? What is wrong with me?
I don't know.
Oh, terrible.
I don't know.
And of course we have Derek Beebe. How you doing, Derek?
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, hey. So what's new in Pennsylvania? Tell us everything.
Work is crazy. The real world outside is worse, but at least we get to come home and do nothing.
Yeah, and watch TV. I love that.
Play video games.
And play video games. Yeah. Of course, since we're being the SciFi Pubcast, I really should ask you this, because I feel like I'm obligated to ask you this. How is our kitchen doing?
It's a lot cleaner than my own one. I was just telling you guys before you were recording that my own kitchen sink at home had developed a bit of a black layer on the bottom of it from several months of unuse. But I went at it with a knife, scraped that stuff off. It's nice and clean now. I wouldn't eat off of it, but I would feel safe to pour water down it, so that's good.
Did you wash your hands afterwards?
Yes, several times.
Oh, good, excellent.
That makes me not want to order anything but air. So.
The black stuff under my nails is almost gone now.
Yeah.
The pub is pretty much BYO everything except for maybe booze because Joel's the one attending bar, and I trust him more than I trust Eric.
Yeah, I trust myself more than I trust Eric.
I actually did make very normal food for this episode. They're just battering cookies with real Teflon icing. And I say real Teflon icing because I made the icing in one of our Teflon pots, and apparently I was scraping the side too hard, so some of it came off. So, but hey, it's authentic.
I think I need to start to drink some tequila, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Can I have some of that, please?
Minerals are good for your body, right?
So.
Oh, man. No. I don't know.
Okay.
What's happening with me? Not much. Work's been busy. I'm living in Ottawa. It hasn't snowed yet. The weather's been actually good this week. It's almost like a nice, pleasant summer day. Not too hot, not too cold. And that's great. Spending some time on patios before the patios get shut down once again because either COVID or because of, snow. So there's that. That's it. So, and look at us. We're here. We're here to talk about Batman and the tech and science of Batman. Or things dealing with Batman. And I must say, This is Ernie's idea. Ernie, thank you for bringing this topic to the show because this is a cool topic. Like, who doesn't like Batman and tech?
It truly is. It's a topic that, okay, so
yeah.
I have 3 Batman friends that I usually talk to. One of them lives in Oakland. He's a cop, and I hope he's being safe.
Right.
My second one, or actually the next 2 are 2 original founding members of the Retro Convo. One of them being Raul, and the other one being Eric. Now, with Eric, it's very interesting because he and I always go out to dinner and have that life talk. How are you doing? What's going on? Vent a little bit, have a brew. But somehow, halfway in the conversation, it turns into a Batman topic. Every time. I'm not even exaggerating. We talk about something. He either buys a cowl, I talk about a video game or a comic that I read. It just literally, Batman consumes my life ever since I was a kid. So it's one of those things that I think one of the coolest things about being a Batman fan is the ability to fantasize a realness to it and bringing that to the table. So I just thought it would be a fun topic to talk to you guys about and see what you guys thought.
Yeah, I like that. But just to clarify, you're not an original Batman fan because you run around in like 1939 when Batman first appeared, right? And like Detective Comics number 27, you know?
I did start off with this guy right here. I'm not even
and he's showing a little Adam, what's his name? Adam West's, Batmobile. Amazing.
I got a collection right in front of me, so.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh, speaking of Adam West Batman, Kevin Smith's Hollywood Babylon podcast is currently doing episode commentaries for the Adam West series. They're very funny and entertaining.
Okay, cool. Wow. So to the Batmobile then. Okay.
Fun fact also, too.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith's podcast, Batman on Batman, was the podcast that inspired me to be a podcaster. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I love that podcast.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a great podcast.
By the way, they had a really cool Batman 60s Batman movie Easter egg in the last episode of Harley Quinn, or second to last episode of Harley Quinn.
Oh, wow. Okay,
this
cool.
season. So.
Must check it out. I'm
rewatching season 2 as we speak, but I don't remember the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Someone brought out the shark repellent.
Nice. That's from the Batman movie, the 66 Batman.
Yeah, which is great because like it's just so campy, right? I think there's definitely a campy aspect with some of the gizmos and the gadgets that Batman, spoiler alert, Bruce Wayne uses, right? So shark repellent. Well, they were on a helicopter climbing down a rope ladder, right? And there's something they get attacked by sharks.
It's so comical.
Yeah, but don't try using shark repellent on King Shark. It doesn't work out very well.
Just angers him.
Yeah. and quite frankly, who doesn't carry shark repellent on their utility belt nowadays? You know, you have got to be safe out there. It's a dangerous world.
I got some right now on me, so just from rogue sharks, man.
Yeah. And like I'm by the St. Lawrence Seaway and the Great Lakes, so sharks, it could be a problem perhaps if they get zapped with radiation and gamma rays, and who knows? Yeah.
You could also have a Sharknado situation that can strike anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that actually happened.
I saw
Florida.
that.
Whether it was raining sharks? What?
No,
There
no,
were dead sharks stuck on a power line that got sucked up there by a water spout.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Florida.
2020, y'all.
It's
2020, it never ceases to surprise us.
Yeah, so let's see. We have Bruce Wayne, as if you're probably listening to this podcast, you already know all this, that, Bruce Wayne is a very rich individual. He inherited a lot of money and a corporation, which is called, of course, Wayne Enterprises. And there's a lot of different subdivisions within Wayne Enterprises. And he uses his free time and his wealth to take vengeance over criminals as the Dark Knight and the world's greatest detective. So let me ask you this. If you were Bruce Wayne, what type of gadgets would you actually spend money on and develop and use? Something like we haven't seen before. Like, say we're on the committee of Batman story ideas for DC Comics. What would you pitch?
a brand new smartphone. Mine is way too old.
You mean like the iPhone like 12 instead of
20?
the
Yeah,
But
whatever,
that's your fault.
whatever the new one is.
Okay.
Derek repellent would be mine.
What would that be, like deodorant?
That's great. I wonder if they can put like a laser beam on Batman's head, so it'd be like a shark with a laser beam tied around his head. That'd be something. Yeah. More like a Borg thing, right? Yeah.
That way he knows who he's aiming his fist for.
Oh God. It's something because you look at it, right? He's just a human being, right? He doesn't have superpowers per se. Yeah, perhaps he has some mental.
That, though.
I'm
confirmed
going.
confirmed in the Justice League, being rich is a superpower. So
That's true. That's true. Great scene. Great scene there. Right. Okay. Being rich. And there's some like meta human qualities about him in the comic books. Apparently, he fell into some sort of pond, something like that, or a magical pond. I don't know. Happens occasionally. I'm not really a comic guy, so guys, gonna help me out here, okay?
I read a lot of comics. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's on the Wikipedia page.
Lazarus
Yeah, Lazarus Pits. That's it. Yes, which I have no idea what they are, but they sound interesting. So yeah. Well,
Yeah,
because
that's
You really don't know?
well, I know Lazarus as the person from was it the Bible with mythology who comes back from the dead?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
Lazarus Pits are used by Ra's al Ghul, and they have magical properties to bring back the dead, but you have to be recently dead. You know, if you're decayed and old dead, it won't bring you back. But if you have just recently died, it will bring you back to life. But you come back as a screaming, violent maniac for a while until you calm down.
All right. So it's like
it depends on the lifeline of when you use the Lazarus Pit. So with Ra's al Ghul, he actually uses it to extend his life. He's very ancient and kind of has all this wisdom. He's actually a very good foe for Batman. But the closer you are to death, the crazier you are, and the less you become.
right.
So
right.
yes, Derek's correct. If you're dead 5 minutes, you're probably going to come back as a raving zombie.
So there's a difference between being almost dead and being like nearly dead. So it's not like a Princess Bride thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh dear God, it's Sunday afternoons, really, guys. So let's get into some of the tech stuff. What's your favorite, tech stuff that Batman employs to do his job as a unpaid vigilante?
This looks like a knife, but it's a batarang that he's holding.
Okay.
Batmobile?
Yeah. So we're recording this. Yes, you see some of the visuals on YouTube once I upload it to YouTube, which usually takes a day or two after the podcast comes out. But Derek's holding up a little tiny Batman with a knife of some with a
Batarang.
It's a
batarang.
batarang.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a batarang.
It looks like a dagger.
There you go.
But it's a batarang.
So what is that?
Uh-huh.
What is a batarang?
It's like a
basically
boomerang.
a boomerang, but in the shape of bats. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand.
It's something more like a shuriken.
Yeah. But I know there's different versions of it in the comics and in the 60s TV show where you have the blacksmith type, you have the camera type, you have the smoke-filled type. Kind of cool. And
Yeah, I
there's
think the
ones
original
that
one was actually
will,
used more as a.
shoot you with electricity. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yes, I was going to say he used it as the grappling hook.
Ah.
I think originally that's what he used it as. But every tool he has is in the shape of Batman, literally. Yeah.
Well, you have all these corny movies from Joel Schumacher, I believe, like it was in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah.
There's one point where he actually brings out his credit card, the back card to pay.
I
Bill.
try not to talk about that movie.
There's
He's
good
a rich
things about
CEO.
it.
He knows the value of labeling,
Yeah.
name recognition.
Yeah, there's that. I know you were holding something up to the screen, Ernie. When I ask you what's your favorite tech stuff for Batman.
I think the most essential, which is the grappling hook.
Ah,
So this is actually a replica grappling hook that I
Nice.
purchased for my wedding. The funny thing enough was that I bought it because I wanted to take pictures with it with my wife holding the grappling hook, and so I have that collection in my piece. That one's from the Batman Origins video game, which is a great video game, by the way. But I just think that one's super essential. It's been the one thing that I think everybody sees nowadays, and like, we'll change the design of it, but the roots of it are still there. It's always going to be a grappling hook that shoots out, and I think the cool thing is with the Nolan verse, he made it more viable. You know, he made it more realistic, and kind of calling it a gas powered, grappling hook basically.
So you bought it for your wedding in case you had cold feet. You could escape.
Yeah.
What? I like your style. I kind of like your style.
Yeah, as he was going to the chapel where the wedding was going to be, he's like, "Okay, there's a skylight up there, right?"
Where's it? Where's the in-laws? Okay. I do remember as a kid. I can't remember if I had it or if my older brother had it, but the whole Adam West '60s TV show Yellow Utility Belt. Now this is the mid '70s, right? Okay, so it's 10 years after the show went off air. But I remember the toy because I remember the winding gear under the belt buckle, where you can actually shoot, or at least pretend you toss this string with a little grapple hook, so you can try to actually mimic the way you climb up, like Batman climbs up. Somehow I still have this memory. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't escape that.
Yeah, you didn't lose that one in the bar.
No, definitely not.
I do like that in the video game, they did bring out what's called explosive gel.
Okay.
I don't know why this never was thought of before, but explosive gel is very essential in the game. You break down walls with it to get into another room. You can use it against criminals. It is awesome. It's just in the shape of a gun with exploding, gel in it, and he triggers it. It's awesome.
Oh, really? Okay, so it detonates to
like liquid C4 or something.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
But it's the mechanism within the gun itself that detonates the blast, which is probably delayed so that it actually can leave the barrel of the firearm, right? So it doesn't blow up in your hands. Yeah.
And it's pretty cool when you do it in several different places and attack all at once. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's not like you want to play a trick on your friend. You place the guy's toothpaste with this explosive gel and see what happens. Okay. I'm sick. Okay, I'm really sick. Okay. Because that would really bite. I was on YouTube and I was watching videos on the tech of Bruce Wayne, and there's a couple cool videos out there. Most of which are at least a couple years old. But I remember watching one which was done for the History Channel, and they make the point that when Batman first started, so 39, but mostly it really got going during the early 40s. He wasn't really a tech guy. Well, he was a tech guy, but the tech was so different. They were writing comics for 12-year-olds, right? So it was a very different time period. So his tech was like a lockpick, because that was cool back in the day.
And a flashlight.
A flashlight. Isn't that cool? And now, fast forward to 2020, and we all know what's going to happen in the new Batman movie, right? So with what's that fellow's name?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Pattinson.
Pattinson, yeah. And the trailer dropped last month, and it looks amazing. I like that. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I can't wait.
I only had one complaint about that trailer, and it's so minimal, but I just didn't like his hair. Like, literally, that's the only thing I didn't like. A billionaire wouldn't have that type of hair.
This is supposed to be year 2 Batman, and the hair, if he just took off the cowl, is not going to look, like you should be going out to a fancy dress party or something, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I think once we see that shot in context, it might be better.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, I think even what Joel was mentioning is that Batman was a detective. He wasn't necessarily a crime fighter in the sense of what he is now. Like, he's the greatest martial artist. He beats people to a pulp with his bare hands. He started off as a detective, and I think the new Batman that's going to come out is going to bring that old style back, that noir, and I am so about it because I like the comics. My favorite one being the last Halloween, where he actually is a detective and he has to solve the mystery. So I'm looking forward to this Robert Pattinson Batman. Yeah.
You mean the Long Halloween, right?
The Long Halloween. Sorry, yes.
They're doing a 2-part animated two anime movies about.
I'm worried about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
the animated
the Killing
adaptations are always kind of
Yeah.
lacking something, but at least they're doing it in two
Really?
movies and not one.
Really,
the Dark Knight.
I've really liked the animated DC movies a lot better.
I mean,
the only one I
like
liked
them,
was The Dark
but-
Knight Returns. That was the only one I felt like they actually did justice with.
Yeah,
but
that
the other
one's
ones,
good.
it just took some liberties that I was just so confused. Like the Killing Joke, where
I haven't
Barbara.
seen The Killing Joke yet.
Yeah, they made a romance between Barbara and Bruce Wayne, and I just.
Well, they kind of hinted at that during Batman Beyond, and it kind of squicked me even then. Just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, which one's Barbara? Please bring me up to speed.
Batgirl.
Batgirl.
Batgirl is also Jim
Batgirl.
Gordon,
Ah.
Commissioner Gordon's daughter,
Okay.
who eventually becomes paralyzed in that comic, and also later becomes the Oracle, who helps Batman via computer because she's paralyzed.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know my stuff apparently.
No. Yeah, it's tough, dating women who are handicapped because of things. I totally get it. Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, Joel, I think the program that you were talking about, I watched, that's the one that's on the DC Universe streaming service. It's called The Tech of Batman or something like that. It's 45 minutes long. It was clearly made in connection to the Dark Knight movie in 2008 because they basically talk about what they used in Batman Begins and the Dark Knight and like say how it has actual real world counterparts. Like the grappling gun does exist in the real world and it's used by the military. However, it's like the size of a backpack. It's not the size of a gun.
Yeah, and it's used to basically move troops quickly up, say, a mountain, a face of a mountain or a hill, right? Okay,
Yeah.
it's not to actually shoot up there. No, it's more of okay. Lock yourself in. The rope's already at the very top of the pinnacle you're climbing, and just let's move the platoon of troops up. I think, but there's also things like the whole suit, right? Let's talk about Batman's suit because we have the whole armor aspect to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Kevlar, because that's a real life thing, of course, which the military and police uses, and it's not you're not bulletproof by any means in real life, but it's probably enough to stop a small caliber handgun, which is something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Anything
this,
but a straight shot.
Yeah.
exactly. Just to note, so there's different types of, in real life, there's different types of body armor. And if you just do the soft pad armor, that's probably enough to stop like a 9mm pistol or a 40 caliber pistol. That's about it. It's not designed to stop rifle bolts. Yeah, you get shot. If you run armor, you get shot through with a rifle. Yeah, you're still gonna die. It gets more complicated when you're dealing with like ceramic plates, and they're really heavy and they cover your vital organs. So it's not like you're completely 100% protected in terms of the surface of your body. But I'm sure Batman is because he gets shot a lot, and he just he just walks it off basically.
Well, I love the evolution of the bat suit in the movies because you started off with, I mean, okay, 60s Batman was just, leotard basically. But, you had the 89 Batman. Yeah, I see that, Derek. Thank you. Can you please get his codpiece out of my face, please? Thank you. So you have the 89 Batman suit, which is basically rubber, and basically, as a martial artist, how do you even move in that thing?
You can't even turn his head.
You have no peripheral vision, you have no mobility whatsoever. And then you get to something like BVS, where it's like, okay, this is a Batman, this is a bat suit that actually is designed for mobility and designed to be able to take out 50 people in a fight, and I could see someone wearing that and being able to do a decent amount of damage, but not with,
Well, I'd argue that the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises had the better, more mobile suit because it was just the plates versus, and then also the cowl. You were able to turn your head.
Yeah.
Because even BVS, he couldn't turn his head much, so they would do that like shoulder turn.
Yeah. That was something I think they purposely worked into that trilogy too. It's like, mobility and experimentation with different allies and stuff. They even I think I remember an interview with David Goyer where they said that that was the first time they actually came up with an actual practical use for the flanges on his gauntlets. Yeah. It's like, oh, what are those actually supposed to be for? We don't know.
Laws of life.
Well, the one thing that I wish they would do with the movies that they haven't really talked about, but is something that's essential in the comic, is that even the bat symbol on him is the most armored area, and it's like this reverse type of psychology where that's the thing you're aiming for. That's the thing you see. So that's like, for some reason, mentally, you go straight to that if you have a gun. Yeah. So that's the area that Batman would protect the most, and it's almost a trick.
See, because the rest of it is dark, so like it's a target to aim for.
Yeah. So it was this psychological thing where you would aim for that thing, and he would armor that area the most.
Yeah. And that's also the reason why Robin wears such bright colors as well.
Yeah.
Plus, he's inexpendable. If he gets shot, at least the bullets wasn't for Batman.
Yeah,
so.
he's had like 6 Robins at this point, so
Yeah, too many Robins.
Well,
he's got to go to the puppy mill.
I do like that apparently in the new Batman movie, the bat symbol is made out of the gun that killed his parents.
Mm.
Yeah. So I thought so. It's armored and it's symbolic for him, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I haven't read the story, but apparently Kevin Smith came up with that idea in a short story in Detective 1000. Right. So Kevin Smith raises his head again here.
Oh god,
he's done some really good comics too. I think Cacophony, Symphony of a Cacophony, or something like that. I forgot.
Yeah, he did Cacophony and The Widening Gyra.
The Widening Gyra,
yeah. It's infamous for Batman confessing that he peed himself in year 1 when he set the thing on fire. Splatter. Yeah.
So why did he pee himself?
So
because
he
lit in year 1 when he goes to the criminals and he lights a fire in front of them. The heat of the fire made him pee a little.
Okay.
Just a drop.
Fans hated it.
Yeah, fans hated it.
So you're saying that it pissed off a lot of people. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love being in a bar broadcast. Okay. There's also, talking about the suit again, right? Okay. There's the whole thing about real tech. So you have people out there using these wing suits to jump off cliff face where they can soar for miles and upon miles. Yeah, it's dangerous as hell, and there's there's tricks to it and all this stuff. But Batman uses the same thing to jump from buildings, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, personally, I don't like the sensation of falling anywhere, so I wouldn't do it. I'm too much of a
and the original '89 Batman, well, not original, but '89 Batman, he actually had Nikes. True story. I think they didn't know what to do with the boots, or they ran out of something with the budget, so they actually used Nikes and then padding over it. So when I went to do the DC tour at the Warner Brothers studio, sure enough, it's Nikes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We completely missed that when we were there, Joel.
Yeah, I'm not sure that wasn't around. So we did the Warner Brothers tour 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, something. Yeah, we did see a bunch of the Batmobiles. So I remember that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and across the street they had this a big giant room set up with numerous vehicles. That was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and we because we saw the Wonder Woman stuff, right? That was mostly the display.
There was the Justice League and Harry Potter displays.
So I was on vacation. I was probably hungover from the night before.
He probably was.
Yeah, I was drinking at this '70s bar in the Garland Hotel. That started from the actress Julie Garland, something like that. Yeah. It was kind of cool. But I digress. Okay.
Your hangover. Hungover.
We should talk about things like let's talk about automobiles. What's your guys' favorite Batmobile?
I really.
Can you see it? There it is. The Tumbler.
Tumbler.
Oh, yeah, Tumbler.
Yeah.
I love the Tumbler. It is just
my favorite.
The Tumbler and then the extension of that from BBS, where it's just a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also this one too here. I don't know if you can. My background keeps cutting it out, but this is from the video game, the Arkham Knight. These are freaking awesome. I love this thing. It's a tank.
Yeah, wait, I heard about this. So it's a huge giant tank that would be like takes over like 3 different lanes on a road, right? Okay, and everything's gone to crap, right, in the video game. Is that right? Is that the nuclear winter one?
It's not a nuclear winter one, but it's basically a poison ivy creates this spore that kind of covers the land, and Scarecrow creates a fear toxin that covers everything. It's just an interesting storyline. Yeah.
Well, I love that BVS they basically talked about how, not BVS but the Nolan trilogy talked about how basically the Tumbler is like a 1.5 scale Lamborghini crossed with a 1.5 scale Hummer.
Yeah.
It's like,
truly.
Okay, that is like the best thing ever. And I am totally not a car person, but
well, they took what always was a bat car, like Batmobiles were always bat cars, and in the Dark Knight Returns, he actually has this huge tank, and they just merged those two ideas together.
Yeah, they actually made a car that's practical and can corner without needing cables or anything.
Mm-hmm. And the actual tumbler itself, the real thing, could do all it does on screen. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I did think the Tumbler was really cool, but just on looks alone, my favorite will always be the '89 movie car. It just has such an iconic look. It looks so cool. It looks like an SR-71 Blackbird, and that's basically the design that they used in the animated series as well. So that will always be my favorite look.
I agree for aesthetics, but for practicality.
Yeah, well, for practicality, you have to go with the Tumbler.
If your car can't corner, you can't really be in a car chase.
Yeah. I actually liked the original car from the 40s, right, which was just this big stretch red old-fashioned car, and they drove through fences with it, and that's about it. That's just a big rich car.
I know which one you're talking about too.
Yeah, so was it? I'm just reading up on that. Red convertible in Detective Comics 48 from February of 1941. Okay, it was based off of a 1936 Cord. I'm not sure what that is, but it looks cool.
It's like a corgi.
Hey, let me ask you this: the movie from the classic 1966 television, right? The Batmobile, which is the classic, iconic, if not very practical Batmobile. Did they only make one of these cars, or did they make several? Because every so often
they made two.
Because I know that. Go ahead, Ernie.
Yeah, so they made two of them. One was actually for scenes where they were in the Batcave and it really didn't have a lot of function, and then the second one was actually made so they can drive it and do more. So for the close-ups, they had the cave one, and then the further shots they would do the second one.
The second one was parked down the street from me for a long, long time. I used to live near a guy who worked for the place where they store like movie cars and stuff, and they would sometimes he would have the Batmobile outside his house, sometimes he would have the A-Team van, sometimes he would have the pink limo with the heart-shaped tub at the back, and okay.
Oh wow!
Dude, you're just showing off now. That's yours. Oh, it's yours. Okay, that explains so much. When did you live in Burbank?
It's funny because I see this car, or at least I've seen people seeing this car in Southern Ontario, right? So I'm guessing people have made their own versions of this car over the years as a form of cosplay, which is still really awesome. But, yeah.
I forgot the type of car it is. It's a Futera, I think, right, or something like that.
I know of someone who built a real life replica of Kit. So people will do strange things.
Yeah, and some people just wants a car, right, because they need transport. Yeah. But there's also been Batman planes and Batman boats, and apparently there was a Batman plane submarine once upon a time.
I actually have both of them. So I have the Bat boat from Batman Returns.
Nice.
I do have the Batwing from the animated series. Yeah, they're fun, man.
Was there ever a Batman jetpack from the 66 series, I'm thinking?
Yeah,
I'm sure there was.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah,
the helicopter
yeah. Wasn't
too.
that? I think that was in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
My favorite.
go ahead, Derek.
My favorite Batwing, again, has to be the 89 one. The 89 movie was so formative for me. So, yeah, that is the quintessential Batmobile and Batwing. And, again, the animated series, reused the concept. So, yeah, those will always be the number one for me.
Interesting. I wonder what other superhero uses text as much as Batman does, or relies on technology. I'm struggling.
Man?
Yeah, Iron Man. Yeah, Iron Man, because Iron Man in real life is basically just another rich guy, right? Rich, smart guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who else is there? Yeah.
Blue Beetle, Booster Gold.
Yeah.
So you think there's a chance for us to become like a superhero if we had access to the right technology?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Gives us hope. Yeah.
You have to be one of the 8 smartest people on the planet, though.
Oh god, I've killed too many brain cells over the years with drinking beer. Yeah.
Also, train your body to sleep on 3 hours of sleep, but make it feel like 8.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I can't do that. Like every week I throw out my back. Yeah, it's just not going to work. Like literally, if I'm going to be Batman, I'm going to be the Batman from the Dark Knight Rises. Okay, the old broken
Old man.
old man with bad knees. That's me. Dear Lord. Tech stuff. Apparently the tech cowl, there's readouts and imagery, and it's linked to databases, and basically Batman can play video games while he's driving his Batmobile, right? So
He doesn't even have to go out for that. He can just play video games in the Batcave. I mean, you guys, the tech in the suit is great, but I just want access to the Batcave. It's like every upgraded version of the Batcave. Like, I want to play with that. I want to play with that.
You realize there's guano everywhere, though.
Oh, I'm sure there's part of it that's been freed of that.
The Batcave would be so cool to hang out in. I'd literally come out looking like Howard Hughes when he went crazy. So, but I would even argue that Batman wouldn't play video games. He is the video game.
Yeah, if I have to spend quarantine in a cave, in this cave, I would do it.
Do that one.
Like,
yeah.
I think it would be a great place to put a tiki bar, because you got the cave thing going on, so you have the grotto already, right? Batman's tiki bar. Think about it. He'll invite all his friends over from the Justice League and his other affiliated teams, and as long as no one's driving, it'd be good. And you have Alfred for that, right? He can ferry people back and forth.
Well, he has a mansion up.
Skirt.
Has a mansion up top. He can just put everyone up for the night. They can sleep up and go home in the morning.
Yeah, Master Wayne, if you're out there as a real person, please invite me to your parties. Please. Okay. Dear Lord. What else, guys?
I like the fact that when his cowl, like if he gets knocked unconscious and somebody tries to take it off, they either get electrocuted or gassed. That's a cool security feature.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I think you were talking about, Joel, was his kind of like detective mode where he could see through walls and stuff. Became really essential in the video games as well. But the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight, it was the first time we ever saw the cowl with the white eyes, and he actually used that tech where it was like sonar. It's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How about the villains? I just remember seeing the Batman movie from the mid-'80s with Jack Nicholson playing the Joker. And I think that was the best thing about that movie, was just his performance of the Joker. Because, again, growing up as a kid, even in the 70s and 80s, we were still watching the 66 classic TV show, right? So going from that classic TV show with Adam West, which is so campy, with the kettle punches of bang, bang, and all that stuff, pow, pow, to where we have now, where we're going into a new movie, which is going to be very much the noir detective version of Batman. These 40 years have been an interesting evolution of the character. And
I will say that Batman has by far the greatest rogues gallery ever. just the plethora of different villains that they have, and Joker. Everybody talks about Joker being basically Batman's opposite, you know. And the funny thing is, like, you can bring up that the Joker and Batman don't see eye to eye, because Batman never laughs while the Joker does, and they can meet each other in the middle if they ever figured that out.
That's a good point.
But, I mean, you know, you have Ra's al Ghul, who's an ancient, basically. You know, the funny things of, like, Clayface. It's just a funny background story, but, like, a cool villain. Harley Quinn, which is more one of the newer villains that was created for the animated series. It's just the Batman Rogues Gallery is by far just one of the best.
Oh yeah, the Joker, he's no joke. The Penguin, and, you know, Mr. Freeze. Others, yeah. Okay, if we had to create our own Batman villain, you know, what would we come up with? You know, a blob? I don't know.
Derek's food.
Yeah. There we go.
Gains sentience and out for revenge.
I mean, we already kind of have the blob with Clayface.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Space
Yeah,
alien.
because every good Batman villain is basically like a revenge story against someone. That's the way they did it for Mr. Freeze, for the Mad Hatter, for the Riddler, almost kind of for the Joker. So yeah, the food gains sentience and it comes after revenge for me, and Batman has to protect my life from the blob.
Or maybe he just chooses not to save you because that's an option.
Yeah.
Well, I avoided talking to him so that he would want to save me. So
I'm thinking this is going to be like for a made-for-TV movie, but if they still have TV nowadays, but dear Lord.
I actually do have a would-be Batman comic book story that I hope to sell to DC Comics one day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to give details, but it's basically like it's basically with the Joker, and he kind of adopts this crazy teenage kid who gets superpowers like Superman, and he kind of, twists his head to turn him into a little mini-me version to go after Batman.
Okay.
That's frightening.
Yeah, so now if they use that, you can sue them. Good on you.
Yes.
All right, there you go. You're creating a documented record of your idea so that you have grounds to launch a suit against DC, right? Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah.
Patent.
Yeah, patent. Hey, I got to ask you guys, what do you think of this TV show called Gotham that was on for several seasons? Like
Gotham went off the rails in the best possible way.
Oh, I think it was so wacky.
It was insane, but very entertaining.
Yeah.
Also, hands down, the quintessential portrayal of Victor Zsasz. I mean, all versions of Victor Zsasz pretty much get compared to that version.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it, and I got into it later on, so I think I binge watched it last year, and yeah, it's excellent. I just like the craziness.
I have a really hard time as a straight adaptation, but
Ernie, I know you said you had a hard time watching it. It's because it went off the rails so badly because
a little bit too much for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm too much of a purist when it comes to Batman, I think.
Well, how about the Harley Quinn cartoon? Did you watch that? Because that also is like a parody of Batman.
That's on the DC app, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's moving over to HBO Max though.
It's moving over to HBO Max.
Yeah, everything is, because DC Universe is becoming comics only.
Yep.
At some point.
The Harley Quinn cartoon is hilarious. I mean, you cannot look at it as a faithful adaptation. It's like a Venture Brothers style parody of DC Comics, but it is so funny. It is hilarious.
That works because she's such
don't watch
character.
Yeah, just don't watch it around kids.
And it's very R-rated. It's very violent. They curse constantly.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Nice.
It's almost like DC's answer to Deadpool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of what they've
That makes
marketed
sense.
Harley Quinn as over the last few years, the DC Deadpool.
That's a crossover I would like to see. Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Marvel and DC have been at each other's throats since the mid '90s. They have done no crossovers whatsoever. The last one was Marvel versus DC in I don't know, 95, 96, 94.
In the 90s, they did the Amalgam.
Yeah,
Amalgam.
yeah. Amalgam was like the aftermath of the Marvel versus DC crossover.
I'm just wondering if the Walt Disney Company has enough money to buy out the Warner Media, which is the Warner Brothers.
Well, not at the moment. They're having a bit of a cash flow.
Yeah. Or it's going to work in reverse, and Warner Media is going to buy out Disney. So, yeah, interesting. And if that happens, well, guess what? All our IP is going to be owned by the same people. Okay.
Hey, I'm still waiting for that Marvel Comics versus Star Wars movie. Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Oh man. So, anything else about the whole Batman franchise and the legacy of Batman?
I thought the mimetic cape from Batman Begins wasn't real, but that actually is a real thing. Like, they don't have it working that good yet, but they actually are developing. It's a liquid, and when you give it an electrostatic charge, it remembers what shape it's supposed to go into, and it becomes rigid. So that's amazing. That's actually something
a cool
that's
explanation.
Real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was the best explanation by far why his cape would be fluid and then not one moment.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Can I ask you guys what your favorite version of Batman is?
Ooh.
I would have thought Derek would have said 89 because he's mentioned 89 quite a bit.
Well, no. Well, that's just for visuals. In terms of like character and portrayal, I kind of always, well, I mean, obviously the 90s animated series is a gold standard, but I kind of prefer the Bat Dick of the comic books around the late 90s, early 2000s, where he was kind of like perfect and distant and judgmental, and he kind of was like a cruel authoritarian to his family of followers. I always kind of like that one. They called him Bat Dick because he was always so rude to everyone. Like, he never explained to anyone what he was thinking or feeling. He just kind of like gave orders out, and he refused to admit when he was wrong.
I think with mine, I like all the different Batmans more or less, but I'm really excited to see Detective Batman returns in a noir way in 2021, right? Okay, so with modern storytelling techniques and big budgets and all, and competent actors, and that would be cool. Yeah.
I was skeptical at first, but Ben Affleck's Batman really grew on me, and then obviously, I mean, Kevin Conroy is awesome as Batman, but because we on DC Talk, we've been going through the animated universe movies, and Jason Momoa's Batman has really kind of grown on me too.
Yeah,
especially
he's pretty good.
Especially when in like Justice League Dark, when he's out of his element, all he just go.
He just growls.
He just growls like that's most of his dialogue for Justice League Dark is just.
Yeah. You guys know this because I haven't seen these TV shows, right? But didn't Batman make an appearance in, was it Daredevil or was it Flash?
Crisis on
in
Infinite
the
Earth.
Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover in the Arrowverse,
right?
they did show Kevin Conroy as an older live-action Batman.
Yeah, they kind of did the Kingdom Come version where he's like in an exoskeleton to help him move.
Okay, interesting. Who knew? I should actually shop my resume out to DC for the next movie. I could be cast as Batman. Why not?
Goes to the bar.
Yeah, exactly. And he sits down and he expresses his feelings to Joker. Yeah. And just platonically, of course. Yeah.
Batman bar stories.
Oh dear.
See, my favorite Batman, though, I think by far has been the video game Batmans from the Arkham series, because the best thing I think, and I think all Batman fans do this, is they've taken some of the best comic book stories out of Batman and they made some sort of linear story with it. So they'll take the Long Halloween, they'll take the Dark Knight Returns, they take Hush, and they make this linear story with it. And I feel like the Arkham series Batman takes all of that and puts it into one. So I have my favorite voice Batman, which is Kevin Conroy. as Batman. You have Mark Hamill's Joker in there, and it's almost like the animated series grew up with you. You know, it becomes a little bit more R-rated. And plus, what is better than being Batman and like actually doing it yourself? So I think the games are just amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, I should buy a PlayStation 5 when it comes out, and hopefully there's a Batman game coming. I don't know.
There is.
There is one actually.
Tell me about it,
Arkham
because
Knights, or Gotham Knights.
Oh yeah,
Batman won't be in it because he'll be dead, but you know.
Barbara will.
Okay, cool. That'd be awesome. So, all right. Anything else before we close up, guys?
Don't think.
Batman's greatest weapon is his mind and his determination. That's the most important piece of technology he has.
I'm agreeing with Derek. Everyone drink.
Drink.
The greatest thing about him is that single-minded determination from when he was 8 years old to find justice and vengeance and to make sure that no other child has to go through what he did. And it was, I mean, that really is the most amazing thing about him. Like, he spent all those years training across the world, preparing himself, turning himself into a living weapon to save people, to help people.
Yeah, and it probably scarred him. Scarred his mental health badly. I think he's slightly unhinged. Yeah.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think my favorite Batman quote is actually from Batman Hush, where he's like, well, he's talking about Superman. He's like, well, deep down, Superman's a good person, and deep down, I'm not. And he's aware enough of his psychological damage to recognize that he's not a good person.
Yeah.
But he tries to do as much good as he can. Anyway.
Usually people get damaged in their childhood because of their parents, which may have happened to Batman, but it's actually the parents' death that caused them the most significant emotional damage to him. I'm not a psychologist, but hey, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah,
Batman literally goes through hell so we don't have to. He's like a comic book Jesus Christ.
Awesome. Any last thoughts, Ernie, man? This is a great topic, and
this is part one, right? Literally starting. Right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, next week we do Robin next week. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I've always had this passion and love for Batman, and I think I kind of want to tell you guys a quick story really fast. When I was a kid, I was about 7 years old, I think. Went to Tijuana. And at the time, I didn't know this, but we were going to go visit an uncle who got locked up in prison there. Little backstory: he got caught trying to sneak drugs over, and we went to go check him out in the prison over there. Now, Mexican prisons are no joke, and as a 7-year-old, it kind of frightened the hell out of me, So thank God I've never been in prison or gone to jail. But I remember being in his cell, and we were talking to him, and I kept staring at this hat, and it was a pretty cool hat. It was white. Had Batman symbols all over it, but on the top it was a big Batman cowl face. I kept staring at it. My uncle noticed, and he asked his bunkmate, "Hey, can you give that to my little nephew? Like, he wants it, and I'll trade with you, whatever." So I ended up getting this hat.
Oh wow!
But since then, like I don't know, I've had this real fascination with Batman. I grew up with the really campy Batman, '66 Batman, but I think, just as overall he evolves, but the main roots are there. He's the crime fighter that we all need, and is kind of the guy who's just trying to bring us back into the light. And I just absolutely love it, and I cannot wait to see what comes out in the future. And I'm excited about the Robert Pattinson Batman.
That's awesome. Yeah, the whole vigilante thing, just cutting through the red tape and the bureaucracy, and just to punish bad people, right, and keep people safe. Who can relate to that, really? Everyone. Yeah. Any last thoughts, Derek? You're on, man.
I have no thoughts whatsoever.
That was easy.
Next.
Okay, next. Carrie, you got anything?
Yeah, Batman is by far one of my favorite superheroes, especially when they got into the 90s and they finally allowed him to be the Dark Knight again. That was just like, okay, yeah, I am sold. My quasi-gothy self was just like, okay, this is my guy.
Yeah. See, my take, and this is my final say, is that someone like Superman, it would be kind of cool to have a drink with Superman, right? Get him drunk at the bar. He's going to be a big, joyful guy with lots of jokes and laughing. If you take Batman to the bar, not Bruce Wayne, but Batman to the bar, I don't think that the conversation would be very good. Just saying.
He'll be looking at for an exit, what he can use as weapons, the weight of people to see if he would have to throw them like a judo throw.
Yeah. It'd be a good antisocial.
Typical martial arts type guy.
Yeah. So
I'd actually love to trade with Batman.
Yeah. You mentioned the conversations. So this local sports team, they're doing great this year, eh, Batman? And Batman.
The guy's ribs.
God. Oh well. There you go, man. Maybe someday. I could be wrong. Batman, prove me wrong. Okay. So let's close our doors. This has been a great episode. Thank you, Ernie. This show is released on a podcast, hopefully later today, if not tomorrow, and on YouTube in probably a day or two. Subscribe today to our channel because that's important for YouTube purposes. Check out our Discord server. I post news there sometimes. Sometimes it's busy, sometimes it's not. You can find our Discord server wherever you find our social media, which includes Twitter, which I do, Instagram, which I do, and our Facebook page, which Derek does. Derek, you're doing an excellent job doing our Facebook.
Thank you.
Yes. Our information, you can email us at management@scifipubcast.space. Carrie, what is your Twitter address?
My Twitter handle is Carrie Blackfire42. That's KERI Blackfire42.
And you also do some other podcasts, which is directly on point with this topic of today's show.
Yes. I do Cape Chronicles, which we are going through every superhero movie ever. We just dropped our episode on Iron Man 2, the best Iron Man sequel ever, a couple of weeks ago. And we're following that up with Joe the Hex, unfortunately. But it's on the list.
I'm sorry.
Play Mike for that one. And then I also do DC Talk, which is DC Comics movies and TV news and discussion show. And as I said, we are finishing up our run through of the DC animated universe. We started with Flashpoint Paradox, and we are finishing up this week with Apocalypse War.
Okay, cool.
Which is bleak.
I just saw that for the first time a few weeks ago. It was really good.
It's like 90% the end of Infinity War and 10% the end of Endgame. All in one movie.
Yeah, it's basically Avengers Endgame in the DC universe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they're on the Random Chatter Network, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, let's see. Who's next? Derek, what's your Twitter address?
I'm at Derek J. Beebe.
Excellent. And Ernie, if people want to find you, what's the best way to find what you're on about?
I think the only app I'm using right now, I do have a Twitter, but I'm mostly on Instagram at your buddy Ernie.
Perfect. With me, my Twitter address is at Joel_Welch. It's closing time, folks. Please take care and make it home safe. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Jea Rhea. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.